Hello and welcome to this second take exploring session looking at Calisto and Melebea, a new comedy in English in manner of an interlude, right elegant and full of craft and rhetoric. And yes, all you can see is me, because there are performers waiting in the wings. This is a play that we have looked at a fair number of times now. We did a first look, we did a workshop, we did the beginnings of this second look process to try and start getting a performance aesthetic together. And so the team who did the last look 2 weeks ago have spent a little bit of their spare time to try and pull together a more exciting and more complete version of Calisto and Melebea. We are still just playing around. We're still trying to get the best out of it. There are still things to be discovered. So hopefully you will enjoy this presentation that we will be putting forward for you now. All that remains is for me to disappear and leave you with the opening moments of Calisto and Melebea.
Franciscus Petrarchus, the poet laureate, saith that nature, which is mother of all things, without strife can give life to nothing create. And Heraclitus, the wise clerk, in his writing, saith in all things create strife in their working. And there is nothing under the firmament with any other in all points equivalent. And according to their dicts, rehearsed as thus, all things are create in manner of strife. These foolish lovers then, that be so amorous, from pleasure to displeasure how they lead their life, now sorry, now sad, now joyous, now pensive. Alas, I, poor maid, then what shall I do? Cumbered by dotage of one Calisto. I know that nature hath given me beauty, with sanguineous complexion, favor, and fairness. The more to God ought I to do fealty, with will, love, land, and love worthy of perfectness. I deny not, but Calisto is of great worthiness. But what of that? For all his high estate, his desire I defy, and utterly shall hate. Oh, his sayings and suits so importune, that of my life he maketh me almost weary. Oh, his lamentations and exclamations on fortune with similitude of manner as one that should die. But who shall pity this? In faith, not I. Shall I accomplish his carnal desire? Nay, yet at a stake rather brenn in a fire. Of truth, I am sorry for his trouble to strive with himself thus for love of me. But though his sorrows, I assure you, should double, out of his danger will I be at liberty. What, a miswoman, now Christ's benedicti? Nay, he shall never see that day, he shall never that day see his voluptuous appetite consented by me. Wist he now that I were present here, I assure you shortly he would seek me. And without doubt he doth now inquire whither I am gone or where I should be. See, is he not now come? I repent me. Alas, of this man I can never be rid. Would to Christ I wist where I might be hid.
By you, fair Melebea, may not be seen the grace, the gifts, and the greatness of God.
Wherein?
In taking effect of Dame Nature's stream, not earthly, but angelic of likelihood, in beauty so passing the kind of womanhood. Oh God, I might in your presence be able to manifest my dolours incomparable. Greater were that reward than the grace heaven to obtain by works of pity. Not so glorious be the saints that see God's face, nay, joy so much as I do you to see. Yet difference there is between them and me, For they glorify by his assured presence, and I in torment because of your absence.
Why thinkest thou that so great a reward?
Yea, more greater than if God would set me in heaven above all saints, and more in regard, and think it a more higher felicity.
Yet more greater thy reward shall be. If thou flee from the determination of thy consent of mine by such temptation, I perceive the extent of thy words all as of the wit of him that would have the virtue of me such a woman to be thrall. Go thy way with sorrow. I would thou knew I have foul scorn of thee, I tell thee true. Or any human creature with me should begin any communication pertaining to sin. And I promise thee where thou art present, where while I live by my will, I will be absent.
Lo, out of all joy, I am fallen in woe, upon whom adverse fortune hath cast her chance of cruel hate, which causeth now way to go, the keeper of my joy and all my pleasance. Alas, alas, now to me what annoyance.
Dieu garde, milord, and God be in this place.
Sempronio?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I shrew thy face. Why hast thou been from me so long absent?
For I have been about your business to order such things as were convenient, your house and horse and all things with the dress.
Sempronio, have pity on my distress, for of all creatures I am the woefulest.
How so? What is the cause of your unrest?
For I serve in love to the goodliest thing that ever or was. That is
What
or
is
ever
she?
was.
What is she?
It is one who is, which is all other exceeding, the picture of angels, if thou see her see. Phoebus or Phoebe, no comparison may be to her.
What hides she?
Melebea is her name.
Marry, sir, this would make a wild horse tame.
I pray thee, Sempronio, go fetch me my lute and bring some chair or stool with the arguments of love that I may dispute. With science, if I find thou art without pity. Hide thee, Sempronio, hide thee, I pray thee.
Sir, shortly, I assure you, it shall be.
Then farewell. Christ send thee again soon. Oh, what fortune is equal unto mine? Oh, what woeful wight with me may compare? The thirst of sorrow is my mixed wine, which daily I drink with deep draughts of desire, of care.
Tush, sir, be merry. Let pass away the mare. How say you, have I not hied me lightly? Here is your chair and lute to make you merry.
Merry, good. Nay, that will not be. But I must needs sit for very feebleness. Give me my lute, thou shalt see how I shall sing mine unhappiness. This lute is out of tune now, as I guess. Alas, how in tune now should I set it, when all harmony to me discordeth each whit, as he to whose reason is unruly, to whose will reason is unruly. For I feel sharp needles within my breast. Peace, war, truth, hatred, and injury, hope, and suspect, and all in one chest.
Oh, behold, Nero in the love of Poppaea oppressed. Rome, how he brent, old and young, wept, but she took no thought, no nevertheless slept.
Greater is my fire, and less pity showed me.
I will not mock. This fool is a lover.
What sayest thou?
I say, how can that fire be that tormenteth but one living man greater than that fire that brenneth a whole city here and all the people therein?
Marry, for that fire is greatest, that brenneth very sore, and lasteth longest. And greater is the fire that brenneth one soul, than that which brenneth 100 bodies.
His sayings in this, none can control.
None but such as list to make lies. And if the fire of purgatory been in such wise, I had liever my spirit in brute beasts should be than to go thither and then to the deity.
Marry, sir, that is a spice of heresy.
Why so?
But for ye speak like no Christian man.
Would thou knewest Melebea worship I, in her I believe, and her I love.
Then with thee, Melebea is a great woman. I know on which foot thou dost hold on. I shall shortly heal thee, my life thereupon.
An incredible thing thou dost promise me.
It is easy enough to do. But first, for to heal a man, knowledge must be of the sickness, then to give counsel thereto.
What counsel can rule him, Sempronio, that keepeth in him no order of counsel?
Is this Calisto? His fire now, I know well. How that love over him hath cast her net, in whose perseverance is all inconstancy.
Why, is not Eliseus love and thine met?
What then?
Why reprovest me then of ignorance?
For thou settest man's dignity in obeisance to the imperfection of the weak woman.
A woman, nay, a god of goddesses.
Believest thou then?
Yea, and as a goddess I here confess, and I believe there is no such sovereign in heaven, though she be in earth.
Peace, a woman a god, nay, to God a villain. Of your saying you may be sorry.
It is plain.
Why so?
Because I love her, and I think surely to obtain my desire I am unworthy.
Fearful heart, why comparest thou with Nimroth or Alexandra, of this world, not lords only, but worthy to subdue heaven, as saying goeth, and thou reputest thyself more high than them both, and despairest so cowardly to win a woman, of whom hath been so many gotten and ungotten, never heard of any. It is recited in the feast of St. John that this is the woman of ancient malice, of whom but of a woman was it long on that Adam was expulsed from paradise. She put man to pain, whom Eli did despise.
Then sith Adam gave to him to their governance, am I greater myself than Adam myself to advance?
Nay, but of those men it were wisdom that overcame them to seek remedy, and not of those that they did overcome. Flee from their beginnings, eschew their folly. Thou knowest they do evil things many, they keep no mean but rigour of intention, be it fair or foul, wilful without reason. Keep them never so close, they will be showed. Give tokens of love by many subtle ways, seeming to be sheep and serpently shrewd. Craft in them renewing that never decays, their sayings and sightings provoking their plays. What pain it is to fulfill their appetites and to accomplish their wanton delights. It is a wonder to see their dissembling, their flattering countenance, their ingratitude, inconstancy, false witness, feigned weeping, their vain glory, and how they can delude. Their foolishness, their jangling, not mute, their lecherous lust and vileness, therefore. Witchcrafts and charms to make men to their law, their embalming and their unshamefastness, their bawdry, their subtlety and fresh attiring, their trimming, what painting to make fairness, their false intents, and flickering smiling. Therefore, lo, it is an old saying that women be the devil's nets and head of sin, and man's misery in paradise did begin.
What thinkest thou by me yet for all this?
Marry, say ye were a man of clear wit, whom nature hath endued with the best gifts as beauty and greatness of members. perfect strength, lightness, and beyond this, each whit, fortune hath parted with you of her influence for to be able of liberal expense. For without goods, whereof fortune is lady, no man can have wealth. Therefore, by conjecture, you should be beloved of everybody.
But not of Melebea, now I am sure. And though thou hadst praised me without measure and compared me without comparison, yet she is above in every condition. Behold her nobleness, her ancient lineage, her great patrimony, her excellent wit, her resplendent virtue, her portly courage, her godly grace, her sovereign beauty perfect. No tongue is well able to express it, but I I pray thee, let me speak a while, myself to refresh in rehearsing of my style. I begin at her hair, which is so goodly, crisp to her heels, tied with fine lace, far shining beyond fine gold of Araby. I trow that sun color to it may give place, that to who to behold it might have the grace, would say in comparison nothing countervails.
Then is it not like the hair of ass tails?
Oh, what foul comparison! This fellow rails. Her gay glassing eyes so fair and bright, her brows, her nose, in me no fashion fails. Her mouth proper and feet, her teeth small and white, her lips ruddy, her body straight, upright, her little teats to the eyes of pleasure. What joy it is to see such a figure. Her skin of whiteness and darketh the snow, with rose color and nude. I thee ensure her hands, her little hands, in mean manner, this no trow. Her fingers small and long, with nails ruddy, most pure of proportion, none such in portraiture, without peer, worthy to have for fairness the apple that Paris gave greediness the goddess.
Oh, sir, have you all done?
Yea, now, what then?
I put case all this ye have said before, yet are ye more noble, sith ye be a man.
Wherein?
She is imperfect, I would ye knew, as all women be, and of less value. Philosophers say the matter is less worthy than the form, so is woman to man, surely.
I love not to hear this altercation between me, Melebea, and me, her lover.
Possible it is in every condition to abhor her as much as you do love her. In the woman beguiling is the danger that ye shall see hereafter with free eyes.
With what eyes?
With clear eyes, trust me.
With what eyes do I see now?
With dim eyes, which show a little thing much. Before you shall not despair, I assure you, no labour or diligence in me shall grudge, so trusty and friendly ye shall find me such, in all things possible that ye can acquire the thing to accomplish your desire.
God bring that to pass. So glad it is to me to hear thee thus, though I hope not in thy doings.
Yet I shall do it. Trust me for a surety.
God reward thee for thy gentle intending. I give thee thus this chain of gold in rewarding.
Oh, sir, God reward you and send you good speed. I doubt not, but I shall perform it indeed. But without rewards, it is hard to work well.
I am content, so thou be not negligent.
Nay, be not you, for it passeth a marvel, the master slow, the servant to be diligent.
How thinkest it can be? Show me thine intent.
Sir, I have a neighbour, a mother of bawdry, that can provoke the hard rocks to lechery. In all evil deeds, she is perfect wise. I trow more than 1,000 virgins have been destroyed by her subtle devices, for she never faileth where she begins. Alone, by this craft, her living she wins. maids, wives, widows, and every one. If she once meddle, there escapeth none.
How might I speak with her, Sempronio?
I shall bring her hither, unto this place. But ye must in any wise let rewards go, and show her your griefs in any case.
Else were I not worthy to attain grace. But alas, Sempronio, that tarries too long.
Sir, God be with you.
Christ make thee strong. The mighty and perdurable God be his guide, as he guided the three kings into Bedlam, as from the east by the star, and again did provide as their conduct to return to their own realm. So speed my Sempronio to quench the gleam of this fire, which my heart doth waste and spend, and that I may come to my desired end. To pass the time, now I will walk up and down within mine orchard, and to myself go commune and talk, and pray that fortune to me be not hard, longing to hear, whether made or marred, my message shall return by my servant Sempronio. Thus farewell, my lords. For a while I will go.
Now the blessing that Our Lady gave her son, this same blessing I give now to you all, that I come thus homely. I pray you a pardon. I am sought and sent for as a woman universal. Celestina of truth my name is to call. Sempronio for me about doth inquire, and it was told me I should have found him here. I'm sure he will come hither anon, but the whilst I shall tell you a pretty game. I have a wench of Sempronio's, a pretty one that sojourneth with me. Elekea is her name, but the last day we were both nigh a stark shame, for Sempronio would have her to himself several, and she loveth one Crighton better. Or as well. This Crighton and Elekea sat drinking in my house, and I also making merry, and as the devil would, far from our thinking, Sempronio almost came on us suddenly. But then wrought I my craft of bawdry. I had Crighton go up and make himself room to hide him in my chamber among the broom. Then made I Elekea sit down a sewing, and I with my rock began for to spin, as who saith of Sempronio we had no knowing. He knocked at the door and I let him in, and for a countenance I did begin to catch him in mine arms and say, See who kisseth me, Elekea, and will not kiss thee. Elekea, for a countenance, made her grieved and would not speak, but still did so. Why speak ye not, quod Sempronio, being moved? Have I not a cause, quod she. No, quod he, I trow. Ah, traitor, quod she, full well dost thou know where hast thou been these 3 days from me, and that the imposthumous and evil death take thee. Peace, mine Elekea, quod he. Why say ye thus? Alas, why put you yourself in this woe, this hot fire of love so brenneth between us that my heart is with yours wherever I go, and for 3 days' absence to say to me so, in faith methinketh ye be to blame. But now hark well, for here beginneth the game. Crighton in my chamber above that was hidden, I think lay not easily and began to jumble. Sempronio heard that and asked who was within, above in the chamber that did so tumble. Who, quod she, a lover of mine. Mayhap ye stumble, quod he, on the truth, as many one doth. Go up, quod she, and look whether it be sooth. Well, quod he, I go. Nay, I thought not so. I said, come, Sempronio, let this fool alone, for of thy long absence she is in such woe, and half beside herself, and her wit nigh gone. Well, quod he, above yet there is one. Wilt thou know, quod I? Yea, quoth he, I thee require. It is a wench, quod I, sent me by a friar. What friar, quod he? Wilt thou needs know, quod I? Then, it is the friar Johnson. Oh, quod he, what a load hath that woman to bear him? Yea, quod I, the women per case bear heavy full oft, yet the gall in no place. Then he laughed. Yea, quod I, no more words of this, for this time too long we spend here amiss.
Oh, Mother Celestine, I pray God prosper thee.
My son Sempronio, I'm glad of our meeting, and I hear you say you go back to seek me.
Of truth, to seek you was mine hither coming. Mother, lay apart now all other thing, and all only tend to me, and imagine in that I purpose now to begin. Calisto, in the love of fair Melebea, burneth, wherefore of thee he hath great need.
Thou sayest well. Know'st not me, Celestina? I have the end of the matter, and for more speed thou shalt wait no farther, for of this deed I am as glad as ever was the surgeon for salves for broke heads to make provision. And so intend I to do to Calisto, and give him hope, and assure him remedy. For long hope to the heart much trouble will do. Wherefore, to the effect thereof I will hie.
Oh, peace, for methinketh Calisto is nigh.
Parmeno,
What say you?
what is who is here? Sempronio, that reviveth my cheer.
It is Sempronio, with that old bearded whore. Be ye they, my master, so sore for doth long?
Peace, I say, Parmeno, or go out of the door. Comest thou to hinder me? Then thou dost me wrong. I pray thee help to make me more strong to win this woman. Else God's forbode she hath equal power of my life under God.
Wherefore to her do ye make such sorrow? Think ye in her arse there is any shame? The contrary who telleth you be never his borrow. For as much she glorifieth her in her name, to be called an old whore as ye would of fame. Dogs in the street and children at every door bark and cry out, there goeth an old whore.
How knowest all this? Dost thou know her?
Yea, that day are gone, for a false whore the devil overthrow her. My mother, when she died, gave me to her alone, and a starker bawd was there never none. For that I know, I dare well say, let's see the contrary, who can lay? I have been at her house, and seen her trinkets for painting, things innumerable, squarms and balms. I wonder where she gets the things that she hath with folks for to fable, and to all bawdry ever agreeable. Yet worse than that, which will never be laughed, not only a bawd, but a witch by her craft.
Say what thou wilt, son, spare not me.
Prithee, Parmeno, leave thy malicious envy.
Hark hither, Sempronio, here is but we three. In that I have said, canst thou deny?
Come hence, Parmeno, I love not this, I. And, good mother, grieve you not, I you pray. My mind I shall show now. hark what I say. O notable woman, O ancient virtue, O glorious hope of my desired intent, the end of my delectable hope to renew, my regeneration to this life present, resurrection from death so excellent, thou art above all other. I desire humbly to kiss thy hands, and wherein lieth my remedy. But my unworthiness make resistance. Yet worship I the ground that thou goest on. Beseeching thee, good woman, with good most reverence on my pain, with thy pity to look upon. Without thy comfort, my life is gone. To revive my dead spirits, thou mayest prefer me, with the words of my mouth to make or mar me.
Sempronio, can I live with these bones that thy master giveth me here for to eat? Words? Oh, but wind. Therefore at once bid him close his mouth and to his purse get. For money maketh the merchant, that must jet. I've heard his words, but where be his deed? For without money with me, nothing speeds.
What saith she, Sempronio? Alas, my heart pleads that I with you, good woman, mistrust should be.
Sir, she thinketh that money all things feeds.
Then come on, Sempronio, I pray thee with me. And tarry here, mother, a while, I pray thee. For where of mistrust ye have me appealed, have here my cloak, till your doubt be assoiled.
Now do ye well, for weeds among corn, no suspicions with friends did never well. For faithfulness of words, turned to a scorn, maketh minds doubtful. Good reason doth tell.
Come on, Sempronio, thou givest me good counsel.
Go ye before, and I shall wait upon you. Farewell, mother. We will come again anon.
How say ye, my lords? See ye not this smoke in my master's eyes that they do cast? The one hath his chain, the other his cloak, and I am sure they will have all at last. Ensample may be by this that is past, how servants be deceitful in their master's folly. Nothing but for lucre is all their bawdry.
It pleaseth me, Parmeno, that we together may speak, whereby thou mayst see I love thee, yet undeserved, now thou comest hither, whereof I care not, but virtue warneth me to flee temptation and follow charity, to do good against ill, and so I read thee. Sempronio, and I will help thy necessities. And in token now that it shall be so, I pray thee among us, let us have a song, for where harmony is, there is amity.
What, an old woman sing?
Why not among, I pray thee, no longer the time prolong.
Oh, go to when thou wilt, I am ready.
Shall I begin?
Yea, but take not too high.
Young boy, get out of my life. My love for you is way out of line. Better run, boy. You're much too young, boy. With all the... Oh, how say ye now by this little young fool? For the third part, Sempronio we must get. After that, thy master shall come to school to sing the fourth part, that his purse shall sweat, for I see thee craftily the song can set. Though thy master be hoarse, his purse shall sing clear, and taught to sol fa, that woman's flesh is dear. How say'st thou to this, thou pretty Parmeno? Thou knowest not the world, nor no delights therein. Dost understand me? In faith, I trow, no. Thou art young enough the game to begin. Thy master hath waded himself so far in, and to bring him out lieth not in me, Old, poor.
Thou should say, it lieth not in me, old whore.
Ah, Orson, what a shame take such a knave. How darest thou with me, thou boy, be so bold?
Because such knowledge of thee I have.
Why, who art?
Parmeno, son to Albert the Old. I dwelt with thee by the river where wine was sold, and thy mother, I trow, hight Claudina, that a wildfire bren thee, Celestina.
But thy mother was as old and o'er as I. Come hither, thou little fool, let me see thee. Ah, it is even he, by our blessed lady. What, a little urchin has forgotten me. When thou layest at my bed's feet, how merry were we.
Oh, thou old matron, it were arms thou were dead. How wouldst thou pluck me up to thy bed's head and embrace me hard unto thy belly? And for thou smelledst oldly, I ran from thee.
Shameful horse, and fie upon thee, fie, fie, come hither. And now shortly I charge thee that all this foolish speaking thou let be. Leave wantonness of youth, then shalt thou do well. Follow the doctrine of thy elders and counsel, to whom thy parents, on whose souls God have mercy, in pain of cursing, bid thee be obedient, in pain whereof I command thee straitly. Too much in mastership put not thine intent. No trust is in them, if thine own be spent. Masters nowadays covet to bring about all for themselves, and let their servants go without. Thy master, men say, and as I think he be, but like care eke not, who come to his service, fair words shall not lack, but small rewards. Trust me. Make Sempronio thy friend in any wise, for he can handle him in the best guise. Keep this, and for thy profit, tell it to none, but look that Sempronio and thou be one.
Mother Celestine, I wot not what ye mean. Calisto is my master, and so I will take him. And as for riches, I defy it clean. For whosoever with wrong rich doth make him, sooner than he gat it, it will forsake him. I love to live in joyful poverty, and to serve my master with truth and honesty.
Truth and honesty be riches of the name, but surety of wealth is to have riches. And after that, for to get him good fame. By report of friends, this is truth, doubtless. Then no such man a friend can I express as Sempronio, for both your profits to speed, which lieth in my hands now, if ye be agreed. Oh, Parmeno, what a life may we endure! Sempronio loveth the daughter of Eliso.
And who? Arusa?
Likest her?
Peradventure?
I shall get her to thee, that shall I do.
Nay, Mother Celestine, I purpose not so. A man should be conversant, I hear tell, with them that be ill and think to do well. Sempronio his ensample shall not make me, better nor worse, nor his faults will I hide. But, Mother Celestine, a question to thee. Is not sin anon in one espied, that is drowned in delight? How should he provide against virtue to save his honesty?
Like a child without wisdom thou answerest me. Without company, mirth can have none estate. Use no sloth. Nature abhorreth idleness, which leaseth desire to nature appropriate. In sensual causes delight is chief mistress, specially recounting love's business. To say thus doth she, the time thus they pass, and in such manner they use, and thus they kiss and biss, and thus they meet and embrace together. What speech, what grace, what plays is between them. Where is she? Oh, there she goeth. Let us see whither. Oh, now pleased. Now forward. Now, mum, now. Strike up, minstrel, with saws of love. The old problem. Sing sweet songs, now jousts and tourney. Of new inventions what conceits find they? Now she goeth to mass. Tomorrow she cometh out. Behold her better, yonder goes a cuckold. I left her alone, she cometh, turn about. Lo, thus, Parmeno, thou mayst behold. Friends, we'll talk together, as I have told. Wherefore perceive thou that I say truly, never can be delight without company.
Mother, as I promised to swell that out, here, I give thee 100 pieces of gold.
Oh, sir, I promise you, I shall bring it about. All things to purpose, even as ye would. For your reward I will do as I should. Be merry, fear nothing, content ye shall be.
Then, mother, farewell. Be diligent, I pray thee. How sayest, Sempronio? Have I done well?
Yea, sir, in my mind, and most according.
Then wilt thou do after my counsel? After this old woman wilt thou be hiring to remember and haste her in everything?
Sir, I am content as you command me.
Then go and bid Parmeno come, I pray thee. Now God be their guides, the posts of my life, my relief from death, the ambassadors of my wealth, my hope, my hap, my quietness, my strife, my joy, my sorrow, my sickness, my health, the hope of this old woman, that my heart telleth that comfort shall come shortly, as I intend, or else come death and make of me an end.
In faith, it make it no force nor matter much.
What sayest, Parmeno? What sayest to me?
Marry, I say plainly that yonder old witch and Sempronio together will undo thee.
Well done, Gretch, will ye not see? Thinkest thou, Lurden, thou handlest me fair? Why, knave, thou wouldst thou put me in despair?
Lo, sirs, my master, you see, is angry. But this it is, tell fools for their profit, or warn them for their wealth, it is but folly. For strike them on the heel, and as much wit shall come forth at their forehead to perceive it. Go thy way, Calisto, for on my charge thy thrift is sealed up, though thou be at large. How unhappy I am to be true! For other men win by falsehood and flattery. I lose for my truth. The world doth so ensue. Truth is put back and taken for folly. Therefore now I will change my copy. If I had done as Celestina bade me, Calisto to his minions still would have had me. This giveth me warning from henceforward, how to deal with him for all thing as he will. I will be the same forward or backward. I will go straight to him and follow him still. Say as he saith, be it good or ill. And sith these bawds get good provoking lechery, I trust flattery shall speed as well as bawdry.
I pray you, came this woman here never sin? In faith, to enter here I am half adrad. And yet why so? I may boldly come in. I am sure from you all I shall not be had. But Jesus, be these men so mad on women as they say? How should it be? It is but fables and lies, ye may trust me.
God be here.
Who is there?
Will ye buy any thread?
Yea, Mary, good mother, I pray you come in.
Christ save you, fair mistress, and God be your speed, and health be to you and your kin, and Mary, God's mother, that blessed Virgin, preserve and prosper your womanly personage, and well to enjoy your youth and pucelage. For that time pleasures are most achieved, and age is the hospital of all manner sickness, the resting place of all thought unrelieved, the sport of time past the end of all quickness, neighbour to death, a dry stock without sweetness, discomfort, disease, all age alloweth, a tree without sap, that small charge boweth.
I marvel, mother, you speak so much ill of age that all folk do desire effectuously.
They desire hurt for themselves as all a will, and the cause why they desire to come thereby is for to live, for death is so loathly. He that is sorrowful would live to be sorrier, and he that is old would live to be elder. Fair damsel, who can show all the hurts of age? His weariness, feebleness, his discontenting, his childishness, frowardness of his rage, wrinkling in the mouth, in the face, lack of sight and hearing, hollowness of mouth, fall of teeth, faint of going, and worst of all, possessed with poverty, and the limbs arrested with debility.
Mother, ye have taken great pain for age. Would ye not return to the beginning?
Fools are they that are past their passage to begin again, which be at the ending, for better is possession than the desiring.
I desire to live longer. Do I well or no?
That ye desire well, I think not so, for as soon goeth to market the lamb's fell as the sheep's. None so old but may live a year, and there is none so young but ye wot well may die in a day. Then no advantage is here between youth and age. The matter is clear.
With thy fabling and thy reasoning, wis I am beguiled, but I have known thee ere this. Art not Celestine that dwelleth by the riverside?
Yea, forsooth.
Indeed, age hath arrayed thee. That thou art she now can scant be espied. Methinketh by thy favour thou shouldst be she. Thou art sore changed. Thou mayest believe me.
Fair maiden, keep thou well this time of youth, but beauty shall pass at the last, this is truth. Yet I am not so old as ye judge me.
Good mother, I joy much of thine acquaintance, and thy motherly reasons right well please me, and now I thank thee for thy past tense. Farewell till another time that hap may chance again that we two may meet together. Mayhap ye have business, I know not whither.
Oh, angelic image, oh pearl so precious, oh, how thou speakest, it rejoiceth me to hear. Knowest thou not, by the divine mouth gracious, that against the infernal fiend Lucifer we should not only live by bread here, but by our good works, wherein I take some pain. If ye know not my mind now, all is in vain.
Show me, mother, heartily all thy necessity, and if I can, I shall provide the remedy.
My necessity, nay, God, what is not for me? As for mine, I left it at home, surely. To eat when I will, and drink when I am dry, and I thank God ever 1 penny hath been mine, to buy bread when I list, and to have 4 for wine. Before I was widow, I cared never for it, for I had wine enough of mine own to sell, and with a toast in wine by the fire I could sit, with 2 dozen sups the colic to quell. But now with me it is not so well, for I have nothing but what is brought me in a pitcher pot of quarts, scant 3. Thus I pray God help them that be needy. For I speak not for myself alone, but as well for other, however speed I. The infirmity is not mine, though that I groan, it is for another that I make moan, and not for myself. It is another way, but what I must moan where I dare not say.
Say what thou wilt, and for whom thou lest.
Now, gracious damsel, I thank you then, that to give audience ye be so pressed, with liberal readiness to me, old woman, who giveth me boldness to show what I can of one that lieth in danger by sickness, remitting his languor to your gentleness.
What meanest thou, I pray thee, good mother? Go forth with thy demand, as thou hast done. On the one part thou provokest me to anger, and on the other side to compassion. I know not how my answer to fashion. The words which thou speakest in my presence be so misty, I perceive not thy sentence.
I said I left one in danger of sickness, drawing to death for aught that I can see. Now choose you, or no, to be murderous, or revive him with a word to come from thee.
I am happy if my word be of such necessity to help any Christian man, or else God's forbid, to do a good deed is liking to God. For good deeds to good men be allowable, and specially to needy above all other. And ever to good deeds ye shall find me agreeable, trusting ye will extort me to none other. Therefore fear not, speak your petition, good mother, for they that may heal sick folk and do refuse them, surely of their death they cannot excuse them.
Full well and graciously the case ye consider, for I never believed that God in vain would give you such countenance and beauty together, but charity therewith to relieve folk in pain, and as God hath given you, so give him again. For folks be not made for themselves only, for then they should live like beasts all rudely, among which beasts yet some be pitiful. The unicorn humbleth himself to a maid, and a dog in all his power ireful. Let a man fall to ground, his anger is delayed. Thus by nature pity is conveyed. The cock, when he scrapeth and happeth meat to find, calleth for his hens, lo, see, the gentle kind. Should human creatures then be of cruelness? Should not they to their neighbours show charity, and especially to them wrapped in sickness, when they that may heal them cause the infirmity?
Mother, without delay, for God's sake show me. I pray thee heartily, without more praying, where is the patient that so is paining?
Fair damsel, thou mayest well have knowledge here too, that in this city is a young knight, clear lineage, called Calisto, whose life and body is all in thee I plight. The pelican to show nature's right feedeth his birds. Methinketh I should not preach thee. Thou wottest well what I mean. Lo, nature should teach thee.
Intent of thy conclusion. Tell me no more of this matter, I charge thee. Is this the Dolan of whom thou makest petition? Art thou come hither thus to deceive me? Thou bearded dame, shameless thou seemest to be. Is this he that hath the passion of foolishness? Thinkest thou are bald? I am such an one of lewdness. It is not said, I see well in vain. The tongue of man and woman worst members be. Thou brute bawd, thou great enemy to honesty certain, cause of secret errors, Jesu benedicti. Some good body take this old thief from me, that thus would me deceive with her false sleight. Go out of my sight now, get thee hence straight.
In an evil hour came I hither, I may say. Oh, would I have broken my legs twain!
Hence, thou brothel! Go hence in the devil way. Bidst thou yet to increase my pain? Wilt thou make me of this fool to be fain? To give him life, to make him merry, and to myself death, to make me sorry? Wilt thou bear away profit from my perdition, and make me lease the house of my father, to win the house of such an old matron as thou art, shamefullest of all other? Thinkest thou that I understand not, thou false mother, thy hurtful message, thy false subtle ways? Make amends to God, thou livest 2 long days. Answer, thou traitress, how darest be so bold?
The fear of thee maketh me so dismayed that the blood of my body is almost cold. Alas, fair maiden, what hast thou said to me? Poor widow, why am I denied? Here my conclusion, which is of honesty. Without cause ye blame this gentleman and me.
I say I will hear no more of that fool. Was he not here with me even now? Thou old witch, thou bringest me in great dole. Ask him what answer he had of me, and how I took his demand, as now, no mayest thou, more showing is but lost, where no mercy can be. Thus I answered him, and thus I answer thee.
The more strange he maketh, the gladder am I. There is no tempest that ever doth endure.
What sayest thou? What sayest? Thou shameful enemy, speak out.
So feared I am of your displeasure. Your anger is so great, I perceive it sure, and your patience is in so great a heat, that for woe and fear I both weep and sweat.
Little is the heat in comparison to say to the great boldness of thy demeaning.
Fair maiden, yet one word. Now, I you pray, appease with patience and hear my saying. It is for a prayer, mistress, my demanding. That is said, ye have Saint Apolline for the toothache, whereof this man is in pain, and the girdle that thou wearest about thee, and so many holy relics it hath touched, that this knight thinketh his boot thou mayest be. Therefore, let thy pity now be avouched, for my heart for fear like a dog is couched. The delight of vengeance whoso doth use pity at their need shall them refuse.
If this be true, that thou sayest to me now, mine heart is lightened, perceiving the case. I would be content well if I wist how to bring this sick knight unto some solace.
Fair damsel, to thee be all grace. For if this knight and ye were acquainted both two, ye would not judge him the man that ye do. By God and by my soul, in him is no melancholy, with grace endued, in freedom as Alexandra, in strength as Hector, in countenance merry, gracious. Envy in him reigned never, of noble blood as thou knowest, and if ye ever saw him armed, he seemeth a Saint George. Rather than to be made in nature's forge, an angel thou wouldst judge him, I make a vow. The gentle Narcissus was never so fair that was enamoured on his own shadow. Wherefore, fair maid, let thy pity repair. Let mercy be thy mother, and thou her heir. This night whom I come for never ceaseth, but crieth out of pain that still increaseth.
How long, I pray thee, hath it holden him?
I think he be 24 years of age. I saw him born and helped for to fold him.
I demand thee not thereof thine answer assuage. I ask thee how long in this painful rage hath he lain?
Of truth, fair maiden, as he says, he hath been in this agony for 8 days, but he seemeth as he had lain this 7 year.
Oh, how it grieveth me, the ill of my patient, knowing his agony in thy innocency here. Unto mine anger thou hast made resistance, wherefore thy demand I grant in recompense. Here have my girdle. The prayer is not ready. Tomorrow it shall be. Come again secretly, and mother, of these words passed between us, show nothing thereof unto this knight, lest he would report me cruel and furious. I trust thee now be true, for thoughts be light.
I marvel greatly thou dost me so atwite of the doubt that thou hast of my secretness. A secret as thyself I shall be doubtless, and to Calisto with this girdle Celestina shall go, and his leady heart make whole and light. For Gabriel to Our Lady with Ave Maria never came gladder than I shall to this night. Callisto, how wilt thou now sit? Upright, I show thy water to thy physician. Comfort thyself, the field is half won.
Mother, he is much beholden unto thee.
Fair maiden, for the mercy thou hast done to us this night, and I both thy bead folks shall be.
Mother, if need be, I will do more than thus.
It shall be needful to do so, and righteous, for this thus begun must needs have an end, which never can be without thee. Condescend.
Well, mother, tomorrow is the new day. I shall perform that I have you promised. Show to this sick knight in all that I may. Bid him be bold in all things honest, And though he to me as yet be but a guest, if my word or deed his health may support, I shall not fail, and thus bid him take comfort.
Now Christ comfort thee and keep thee in thy need. Now, say you now is not this matter carried clear? Cannot old Celestina her matter speed? A thing not well handled is not worth a bean. Now know ye by the half tale what the whole doth mean. These women at the first be angry and furious. Fair weather cometh after storms tempestuous. And now to Celestine, to Calisto I will me dress, which lieth now languishing in great pain, and show him that he is not remediless, and bear him this to make him glad and fain, and handle him, so that ye shall see plain that I am well worthy to bear the name to be called a noble archdame.
Oh, marvellous God! What a dream I had tonight! Most terrible vision to report and hear. I had never none such, nor none earthly white. Alas, when I think thereon, I quake for fear. It was of Melebea, my daughter dear. God send me good tidings of her shortly, for till I hear from her, I cannot be merry.
Oh, dear father, nothing may me more displease. Nothing may do me more annoyance. Nothing may do me greater disease than to see you, father, in any perturbance. For me chiefly, or for any other chance. But for me I pray you not to be sad, for I have no cause but to be merry and glad.
Sweet Melebea, my daughter dear, I am replete with joy and felicity, for that ye be now in my presence here. As I perceive in joy and prosperity, from death to life, methinketh it reviveth me, for the fearful dream that I had lately.
What dream, sir, was that, I pray you heartily?
Doubtless, methought that I was walking in a fair orchard, where were places two. The one was a hot bath, wholesome and pleasing to all people that did repair thereto, to wash them and cleanse them from sickness also. The other a pit of foul stinking water. Shortly they died, all that therein did enter. And unto this wholesome bath we thought that ye in the right path were coming apace. But before that we thought that I did see a foul, rough bitch. A prick-eared cur it was, which striking her body along on the grass, and with her tail licked so that she made herself a fair spaniel to be. This bitch then, methought, met you in the way, leaping and fawning upon you apace, and round about you did run and play, which made you then disport and solace, which liked you so well, that in short space the way to the hot bath anon ye left it, and took the straight way to the foul pit. And ever ye looked continually upon that same bitch, and so much her eye that ye came to the foul pit brink suddenly, like to have fallen in and to have been destroyed, which when I saw anon, then I cried, starting in my sleep, and therewith did awake, that yet for fear methink my body did quake. Was not this a fearful dream and marvellous? I pray you, daughter, what think ye now to this? Why speak ye not? Why be ye now so studious? Is there anything that have chanced you amiss? I am your father. Tell me what it is.
Alas, now your dream which ye have expressed hath made me all pensive and sore abashed.
I pray you, dear daughter, now tell me why.
Sir, I know the cause of your vision, and what your dreadful dream doth signify.
Thereof would I fain now have knowledge.
Alas, dear father, alas, what have I done? Offended God as a wretch unworthy.
Wherein? Despair not. God is full of mercy.
Then on my knees now I fall down, and of God chiefly asking forgiveness, and next of you for into oblivion. I have put your doctrine and lessons, doubtless.
Fear not, daughter. I am not merciless. I trust ye have not so greatly offended, but that right well it may be amended.
Ye have fostered me up full lovingly in virtuous discipline, which is the right path to all grace and virtue, which doth signify by your dream the fair, pleasant, wholesome bath, the foul pit whereof ye dreamed, which hath destroyed so many, betokeneth vice and sin, in which, alas, I had almost fallen in. The prick-eared cur and the foul bitch, which made herself so smooth and fair to see, betokeneth an old queen, a body witch, called Celestina, that woe might she be, which with her fair words I so persuaded me, that she hath almost brought me hereunto to fulfill the foul lust of a Calisto.
Alas, dear daughter, I taught you a lesson where ye should attain unto virtue. That was every morning to say an orison, praying God for grace or vice to eschew.
Oh, dear father, that lesson I have kept true, which persevered me, for though I did consent in mind, yet had he never his intent.
The virtue of that prayer, I see well one thing, hath preserved you from the shame of that sin. But because ye were somewhat consenting, ye have offended God greatly therein. Wherefore, daughter, ye must now begin humbly to beseech your God of his mercy for to forgive you your sin and misery.
Oh, blessed Lord and Father Celestial, whose infinite mercy no tongue can express, though I be a sinner, wretch of all wretches all, yet of thy great mercy grant me forgiveness. For full sore I repent, my sin I confess, intending henceforth never to offend more. Now humbly I beseech thy mercy therefore.
Now that is well said, daughter, mine own fair daughter. Stand up therefore, for I know verily that God is good and merciful ever to all sinners which will ask mercy, and be repentant and in will clearly to sin no more. He of his great goodness will grant them therefore his grace and forgiveness. Lo, here may ye see what a thing it is to bring up young people virtuously, in good custom. For grace doth never miss to them that use good prayers daily, which hath preserved this maid undoubtedly, and kept her from actual deed of shame, brought her to grace, preserved her good name. Wherefore, ye virgins and fair maidens all, unto this example now take good heed. Serve God daily. The sooner ye shall to honesty and goodness no doubt proceed, and God shall send you ever his grace and need to withstand all evil temptations that shall come to you on by any occasions. And ye fathers, mothers, and other which be rulers of young folks, your charge is doubtless to bring them up virtuously, and see them occupied still in some good business, not in idle pastime or unthriftiness, but to teach them some art, craft, or learning, whereby to be able to get their living. The bringers up of youth in this region have done great harm because of their negligence, not putting them to learning nor occupations. So when they have no craft nor science, and come to man's state, ye see the experience. But many of them compelled be to beg or steal by very necessity. But if there be therefore any remedy, the heads and rulers must first be diligent to make good laws and execute them straightly upon such masters that be negligent. Alas, we make no laws but punishment when men have offended, but laws evermore would be made to prevent the case before. If the cause of the mischiefs were seen before, which by conjecture to fall must be most likely, and good laws and ordinance made, therefore, to put away the cause, that were best remedy. What is the cause? That there be so many thefts and robberies. It is because men be driven thereto by need and poverty. And what is the very cause of their need? Because they labour not for their living. And truth is, they cannot well labour indeed, because in youth of their idle upbringing, but this thing shall never come to reforming. But the world continually shall be naught, as long as young people be evil upbrought. Wherefore the eternal God that reigneth on high send his merciful grace and influence to all governors, that they circumspectly may rule their inferiors by such prudence, to bring them to virtue and due obedience, and that they and we, by all by his great mercy, may be partners of this blessed glory. Amen.
And thus closes Calisto and Melebea, and I'll ask everyone to come back into the room, rejoin us as we go into our little post discussion, as it were, as we try to talk about what we've done. So reading in all the parts today, we had reading Callisto was Eric, reading Melebea was Rachael, reading Celestina, Lynsey, I'd say reading Celestina, inhabiting Celestina from top to toe, reading Parmeno, Alex, Scott Fairley, reading Sempronio, Alexandra, and who have I missed out? Of course, Greg reading Danio. So many things about that interpretation that I was liking. Just for the viewers at home, no explicit preparation has been done on sort of an institutional level. People have been given 2 weeks to go away and do whatever they wanted to with their parts, and we've thrown it all together. And this is what we came out with. Some really, really interesting things. I was making lots and lots of notes as going along about the way this is ebbing and flowing. Just to react to what just happened at the end there, I was just going, when Greg having to go out and deliver this sermon at the end, when you've just literally just had all the pegs knocked out from under you, that in fact all of the play has just actually had its pegs knocked out from under it by Melebea in this production, because it's literally just how many, lo, here is the field where all her fucks are sown, and And it does a fascinating spin to it all. I mean, Celestina's attempts to manipulate the situation with someone who is really really not buying what you're selling. It does all sorts of different things to this text in fascinating ways. Thoughts from the room? Who wants to jump in? Because there are lots of little things to discuss before we go into planning for next time. Who has any thoughts they want to share? Everyone's just laughing. They're just laughing quietly to themselves. They don't want to say anything.
All right, I'm going to jump in. I loved not being on till the end because it actually meant I could just sit back and enjoy that. It was fantastic, and I well done to Rachael, because I don't know how I managed not to corpse for most of that, because your indifference was fabulous. I'm glad I changed what I did with that last speech, from last week, which was like taking off the old man at the point at which Melebea disappeared. Because it did feel like a very big gear change in some ways. But no, well done everybody. Brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah. Rachael.
No, it's one of those, it's today was definitely one of those things where you have all these things that you learn from the text itself, but then when you're actually talking to somebody, you figure out there's a whole part of the character that I didn't even realize until I was there and I was talking to people, that just something clicked during this performance and made more sense with her.
I think we're all, in many ways we had a very good discussion after the first run through of this, and I feel like everyone's just sort of going, I've got nothing more to give. It's I mean, just on a structural thing I was just making notes about, because we were thinking about what sort of trims or adjustments might we do for a next exploration. How can we look at how doubling might function in the text, and that was really useful for me, because I was sort of looking at how this is flowing, how this is moving. There is a bit of a problem. I mean, it's not a problem, it's a great problem to have. But actually, there is almost this sense of Celestina. When's Celestina coming on? I want Celestina. And getting to Celestina is actually, I think, the structural thing with this text is actually going, though there's some really nice stuff with Sempronio, there's a lot of stuff with Sempronio before we get to Celestina that feels like that's an area where the text could do with some sieving and some tightening. I don't know how other people felt about that. Bits that maybe they'd like to look for more of or trim down. Lynsey.
Yes, in listening to that scene just before Celestina comes on, I loved the kind of, kind of almost out of nowhere, this extraordinary kind of hatred of women was suddenly being spouted from Sempronio. But I did wonder whether a bit of that goes quite a long way, and it is quite a long section. So I'm not sure. That was the only bit I think that I thought, that could maybe be trimmed ever so slightly. Well, there's probably masses of stuff I was saying that could be trimmed, but because I was saying it, I wasn't really thinking about it from that point of view. But others will hopefully have some good suggestions for that.
Yeah, I think there's trims to be found everywhere. I think that was the bit where I was going, some slightly more considered surgery might be in order. I've got a few other notes of things we might move around or shift. Even Celestina, there's some Celestina that, yes, maybe a few trims here or there, but not surgery. I think in that sense, and there's still, I think there's some focuses to the relationship between both of the servants and their is Sempronio a part of a household, or is what is that relationship? In the text you've been given, you're down as a parasite, but that may not actually be a very useful descriptor of what your placement is, Sempronio. Whereas Parmeno is a much more straightforward servant in that sense. Is much more clear cut as a servant, whereas Sempronio might be a servant, or might hang on. What is that relationship, and how does that function? Which is not saying that necessarily an audience will notice, but we need to know what we're doing with that.
Yeah, I get the impression he's more of a hanger-on than a hired person, because why would Callisto ask for and then follow his advice, and kind of, it seems to be it's a different relationship than just person commanding, person having to do everything whether or not they want to. But what I found interesting is I agree with the idea that the obvious misogyny that he's spouting is, it's just never ending. I wonder whether that's the point, but also I think this is originally it's an interlude, right, which is basically constructed as a series of people espousing a particular idea to the hilt, or expounding on it, and then someone coming with the counter argument, or coming to sort of prove it wrong. So I think maybe that's why it's structured the way it is. And I was wondering whether Sempronio was one of the characters, Robert, that you were saying you might be thinking of conflating, or of kind of readjusting, because I think if he did anything other than that, it would completely recolor that. Whereas if that's all he's here for, he only exists to be the friend that has a very low opinion of women.
Yeah, well, and to lead them to, you're in essential the plot device that gets them to Celestina. That's your function in the narrative. Whereas Parmeno is the person saying, "Don't go there, don't," and his exit is slightly awkward. I feel that there's a little bit of manoeuvring of the text to make that whole. There's a lot of people popping in and out. And that's the bit where if you move things around, you could also double Parmeno as somebody else, and therefore give us a more of a touring option if we wanted to do more with this in a live sphere as opposed to this universe.
Going back to
Alexandra.
Me again. Just because you were talking about Parmeno, he's really interesting because he turns up halfway through, but he's got a fully constructed backstory and goals of his own, and like an entire life going on. He's the hero of a different story. And I'm guessing this is because of the source material, a lot of that being cut, or don't know. But yes, I found him a very engaging character, a very interesting character.
I think within the play, I'm thinking that he's almost like the basically it's Celestina's warm up gig. He's can you turn this one round? There's a bit of that going on there, and that's how I sort of feel it is. It's like that's the function of Parmeno within the text. Because actually, that there isn't that much there. I mean, Alex, how are you feeling about Parmeno? It's an odd part.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say that I think I struggle with this piece as a whole because it's an incredibly truncated version of the original, and you miss everything at the end. And for me, it's almost like doing something I don't know that we're culturally familiar with, Fiddler on the Roof. And then when the first daughter says, "I'm going to go and marry someone who's not of the faith," Tevye goes, "No, absolutely not. I'm locking you up." And that's kind of the gag that you kind of go, "Oh, we didn't get the next 3 acts." And I think in this, there's so much that you miss about these characters, because it feels like I'm trying to put myself in the place of an audience. It's a lovely part to play because essentially you can do what you like with it because you never really see where it goes. But as an audience, I'd be kind of going, what happens to all of them? I want to see all of them. Like I sort of get the joke of the play, but I still struggle with it slightly. And I think it's because these characters are so well fleshed out for such a short piece. And I don't know whether that would bother other people in performance or if there's something you could do to lampshade that, because I don't know how well the original text was known at the time of performance. I don't know whether the original joke was kind of like, oh wow, they've kind of subverted our expectations, or whether it was just that the author was running short of time and went, I'll just do that bit and no one will notice. I don't know what the motivation behind the play being structured that way.
And we will probably never know.
No.
I suspect it's just simply, this bit looks quite good, and we can end it here. I think structurally, I'm not that fussed about why the two servants disappearing. I do kind of wish we had a return of Callisto, even briefly, within this framework, so that there's some sense of that, because title. There I feel that maybe an audience member goes, what happened to Callisto? Not that I'm actually emotionally connected to what happens to Callisto. Frankly, I don't care. But because I'm much more engaged in Melebea. Rachael, and then Lynsey.
I mean, for a story, him not coming back is, I guess, kind of, it's not like a cliffhanger, but it just kind of like leaves us off on that like open-ended thing. But Melebea does say towards the beginning, I'll be wherever he isn't. So if he's off stage, she'll be on stage. And I don't know, maybe it's a little meta theater like that. But also about the parts of the women in this are so interesting, because Melebea is a woman who I'm assuming has, at least comes from some money and some sort of title, and she has a mind of her own, and she's studied things. And then I don't know, today hearing Lynsey do Celestina is just how much worldly knowledge she has. And some of these guy characters, they don't seem to know or think of that much of women, or have that much knowledge of women, or of the world, in that scene where Celestina is talking to Parmeno. And it's just this beautiful subversion, I think, of the, expected, gender roles that, people were supposed to play. And I know it's not coming out until like December of this year, but that End Town play we did about Mary, how it has that, just look into a woman's life that we don't get sometimes, because usually they're the ones heading off stage and the men are the one that close up the play, or, it's their emotional state that we end on, their emotional note.
Lynsey.
We were talking in the chat about what if this whole thing was the father's dream, as it were, and if the father's on stage throughout having this dream, and then the father suddenly wakes up, that kind of gives a justification for all the characters and all the narrative to just evaporate in the same way that a dream does when you wake up. So, I mean, that's maybe not the best way of solving the problem, but I just thought I would mention it.
Well, what if it's the reverse, that actually he sees his daughter going off with this young lad, and then he dreams that actually no, she's a good and dutiful daughter who will come and kneel at his feet, and things like that. There's part of me that wonders at the end, when it's this whole, oh no, I will renounce all this stuff, that, that's the point Callisto comes in with a thing of flowers. And then just turns and goes off, and whether there's a sight gag that could be done there. We unfortunately are running out of time, so I'm going to have to close this session unless anyone has anything bursting to say. Feel free to say it. Otherwise, all that remains to thank all the wonderful readers today for their wonderful reading, their wonderful performances. We will be returning with more second looks. And people are waving. Did I miss something?
No, I was just saying that Melebea is the most wonderfulest thing, the goodest thing on. Greg is making faces.
I'm going to mute you now. Okay. And on that note, thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.